And he also explained what the different levels, the different, better, best, and it's like Krishna has different things. In Vrindavan, he's perfect, most perfect, or I guess he's the most perfect in Vrindavan. In Dwarka, he's a little less, he's perfect, and in Mathura, he's, there's most, there's a little less, and then he's perfect in Mathura. He's more perfect in Dwarka, and he's most perfect in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada also gave us those things. Okay, since we use up the whole class, it was all strategy on my part. We just didn't have anything to say about the verse. So the verse is on the what? Ye tamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham mamavartanu vartante manusha partha sarvashaha. So this is verse number 91. The last time we read a very long verse, and now there are no more purports for a long time. So I'm just going to read some of these verses before the time runs out. According to Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita 4:11, as all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Text 92. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it is said that Lord Krishna cannot proportionally reciprocate devotional service in the Madhurya Rasa. Therefore he always remains a debtor to such devotees. So this is a talk between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Madhya-Lila chapter 8. We've gone up to the Madhurya Rasa, and now we're going to go deeply into the Madhurya Rasa. So if we haven't understood Vatsalya and Sakya and Dasya and the other rasas, don't worry. You'll all be revealed somehow or another in Madhurya Rasa. And Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Roy will explain about Radha and Krishna, and then Lord Chaitanya will say, if you know more, please go on. And then Lord Chaitanya will take his hand, and put it over Ramananda Roy's mouth, because these things are not supposed to be discussed. And he was very surprised that anyone could ask questions beyond Radha and Krishna's pastimes. But in any case, somehow or another we're going to hear about these things. So maybe we can have one of these interactive lessons where someone comes up and puts his hand over the speaker's mouth. But we're invited to hear these pastimes, or this philosophy. Not that we can expect to understand it in the same way that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to understand it after inquiring from, or Ramananda Roy was able to hear it, but we should become at least knowledgeable that there are higher and higher realms of understanding. Things are not so easy and simple to understand in Krishna consciousness. So although they sometimes criticize the mundaners, thinking that we're all sentimentalists, but this is actually the most highly scientific process of sentiment, beyond anyone's ability to conceive what realms of sentiment the higher levels of devotees actually enter into. And there's a completely scientific philosophy about the science of emotion, which we're all aiming for. The next verse, I'll read the Sanskrit because it's very famous. Actually, I'm never good at the Sanskrit, this one particular verse, but Na pareham niravadya samyutam swasadu prityam vibudayu shapiva yamabhajan durjaya geha shinkala samrishya tadva pratiyatu sadhuna. When the gopis were overwhelmed with dissatisfaction due to Lord Krishna's absence from the Rasa Leela, Krishna returned to them and told them, "My dear gopis, our meeting is certainly free of all material contamination. I must admit that in many lives it would be impossible for me to repay my debt to you because you have cut off the bondage of family life just to search for me. Consequently, I am unable to repay you. Therefore, please be satisfied with your honest activities in this regard." This is one of Lord Krishna's prominent qualities. He's Bhaktavatsalya, Bhaktavatsa. That is, he's a very dear and affectionate to his devotees, and that although Krishna doesn't need anything, he's very appreciative, unlimitedly appreciative. So much so that when, does anyone know the example given in the Nectar Devotion for Krishna's appreciation? When Draupadi called out the name of Hey Govinda, that Lord Krishna became so appreciative that he felt he was ever indebted to Draupadi for calling out this name, Hey Govinda. And not only he felt ever indebted, but the more he remembered his debt, the more indebted he felt. It was ever increasing, his feeling of debt. Try and meditate on that for a while. It takes quite a... if someone does something auspicious for us, we may remember it and repay them, but then usually we forget it. That we feel like now I've repaid them, the debt's cleared, I can go on. You know, the account's more or less even. That's more or less the way we've been trained. They gave me a $50 present or €50 present for Christmas, and I gave them back $51 present, so now they're in debt to me by €1. And now they pay the €1 and we're even. But Krishna doesn't feel like that at all. If someone does something for him, he feels completely indebted for it, that service, and he feels ever more indebted as time goes on for that service. He's quite an appreciative person. And what to speak of the love that the gopis have. Krishna feels he can never repay the love, and he feels ever increasing more in their debt. And the gopis, they don't come and they say, well, Krishna, you know, it's time to cash in our debt. No, they act, because of their selfless attitude, they feel ever increasingly dependent on Krishna and ever increasingly enthusiastic to render more and more selfless service. They never think that they're rendering selfless service. They're always feeling that they have to purify their service and become more selfless. So Krishna is ever increasingly more in their debt, and feeling as time goes on, he's remembering all the debts he has to them from all the previous services that they've done. So Krishna feels overwhelmed in his obligation towards the gopis, and ever more increasingly so. Plus any other devotee who renders such selfless service as the gopis does. Or anyone who renders any service to Krishna. Therefore, what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita about devotional service? About how long you get the benefit? Yes, not. What's the whole verse? Translation.
In this endeavor there's no loss or diminution. Little advancement can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yes, because Krishna, he remembers whatever service we've rendered. Therefore, any service rendered in devotional service, Krishna always remembers, and as soon as one takes up devotional service again, then Krishna brings one to that point again, because of this feeling of debt. Any questions about this? Because we're going to stop here. Any question or comment? Yes?
And I was wondering how one can gauge this sentiment that it will be transcends for Krishna's glory.
Yes. How can we gauge our sentiment? Be happy. Just like Lord Jagannath, or the deities, or Krishna, they're completely in ecstasy. They just want everyone else to be in ecstasy also. When we say ecstasy, we can say happy, joyful. And if we come before them miserable, it's not that they think, wow, look at this miserable person, I feel so good seeing them miserable. If Krishna only wants bhakti, love, then that's all we have to give him. As much love as we have, however we can show it, whether it's by our practical service or just being in a jolly mood, a happy mood, whatever. Now the mind will say, why should you be in a jolly mood? What do you deserve to be happy for? You've done so many bad things. You deserve to suffer. Be miserable. Accept what you deserve. We say, yeah, that's true. I got to be honest. I'm a nonsense. Why should I be happy? I don't deserve to be happy. I should be miserable. I should be honest before Krishna. Then we walk, I'm depressed, I'm miserable, this is what I deserve. Hit me, Krishna. No, we should understand that Krishna is so kind and we want to serve him, so we can serve him by being happy. That's what he wants. He wants our love, he wants our happiness. We don't. Being miserable won't actually serve him. Although he may, if we go before him, pray, I'm so miserable, I'm this and that, please help me. Then he'll say, well, stop being miserable. Just be joyful. There's no need to be miserable. Masutraha, I've taken away all your problems, just surrender to me and be happy, joyful, like the residents of Vrindavan. And we say, well, I can't do that. No, Krishna says, no, give up your misery and just be joyful. Chant and dance, forget about your misery, come to the platform of ecstasy and go back to the spiritual world. Yes. Oh, that other. Madhuri, did you have a question? Or a comment?
No, I have a question. If you have no opportunity to serve Krishna directly with his devotees, is Krishna recognized in the case?
Krishna is his devotees. Krishna has expanded himself as his devotees. So Krishna is more pleased when we serve him in the form of his devotees. Of course, what is his devotees? There's a soul inside the body, there's a super soul, and the devotees, if he's remembering Krishna and his associates, the whole spiritual world is there, along with the devotee. And there is Krishna's body that he's created from the material nature, so that's a devotee. It's more than just a devotee, it's also Krishna's energy, and Krishna and his whole spiritual world are there. So if we serve that, then Krishna's quite happy. It's quite a complete package we're serving when we serve a devotee. Well, we should remember what we're doing, who we're serving. That's what we're serving. We're serving not only the devotee, but the whole disciple succession, Krishna, etc. That will be more helpful. That we shouldn't think the devotee is separate from Krishna. As Krishna is never separate from his devotee, so the devotee means not separated from Krishna. One more, yes. Question. Okay, good. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.